And we are here. We're absolutely here. We're not almost here. We're absolutely here. How you guys doing? Welcome to Massive Iron Live, the longest running lifting podcast and Q&A in the history of the known universe. If you think back to the infinite amount of time and space that we have in all reality, this is the longest running lifting podcast that ever was and ever will be. And that's my claim. How you guys doing? Welcome to Massive Iron Live. We'll get the dog hair off of us. I hope you guys had an absolutely wonderful week. I did. I'm here to answer your questions, talk lifting. I'm here in the Massive Iron world to simplify things. It has been my life's passion to study lifting and the history of lifting and programming. And I like to keep an eye on the bigger picture, keep an eye on the basics, not necessarily minimalism at all by any stretch of the imagination, but reducing all the fluff so you guys can focus, get results, look how you want to look, be how strong you want to be, how strong, right? So before we dive into things, if you're new here, don't hesitate to post up your questions. There's no new questions, no dumb questions, no questions that have been asked 1,000 times before. We are here to help. With that said, a couple things logistically. If your questions don't go through, try shortening them a little bit. Sometimes the longer questions don't go through the YouTube system. You can also, if they're not going through, try rewording them, because sometimes YouTube might filter your comment because it has a word YouTube doesn't like. Don't ask me why. It's YouTube. So we are going to be talking about Kelso Shrugs leading off in here in just a moment. Before I do so, I want to remind you guys, it is October, and the Black Friday stuff will be coming up. This year for Black Friday, I'm going to be giving away a lot of stuff at cost, t-shirts, gym bags, whatever. I don't hardly make any money off that stuff as it is, but I'm going to be discounting everything pretty deeply. So if you go over to my store, you can see a lot of apparel, a lot of books. I'm going to have some deep discounts on that stuff. I'm going to be opening up a coaching service that is multiple year for my single year clients that want to expand to 2 years and save even a little bit more money. Believe it or not, 25% of my clients have been on 3 years or more. And I'm really, really happy to establish long-term relationships with folks, but I'm going to be opening the door to that. If you are interested in coaching, it is what I do for a living. I have some of the lowest rates in the industry, and you're not going to just get something crap and cheap and that, isn't useful. I'm going to do everything I can. I work with you Monday through Friday. I'm there 5 days a week. You can check out the coaching tab. Everything is custom. I don't check in once a week with spreadsheets via email or any of that nonsense. That's not the way I do it. We communicate every single day. You can send form videos every single day. You can message every single day. I'm here with you every single day like a real coach, believe it or not. If you're hesitant, you've never had a coach before, I'm going to give you everything you can possibly want. We're going to look at your diet. We're going to make sure your bulk, your cuts are on track. I'm going to provide accountability. You can send form videos every single day. And again, it is only $89.40 after the first month. So check out the coaching tab. Now, one more thing before we get rolling. If you want a custom workout, they are only $39. You can head over here. There's something called a search bar, a search area, a form area. You can search custom, and it is only $39. And if you can't find that, you can head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Send me a question at any time. Or if you have a question about custom workouts, send it through my Instagram. All righty. Let's get into some things, shall we? What do you like? That? You like that? You like that? Whoops, that. Let's do this. My training. I like to talk about my training. I'm still on my cut, hit a new low in weight. My face is thinning out. Things are going really well with my cut. Training is going pretty good. Jiu-jitsu is going good. I have had 15 jiu-jitsu sessions. I've gotten back into trail running. Ran 3 times this week, Sunday, Monday, 2, no, maybe 4. I ran last night. I can't even remember, 3 or 4 times for an hour this week. And everything's going really well. I'm really enjoying jiu-jitsu. I'm learning a lot. My trail running is going good. And my lifting and cutting diet's going good. So everything is going good with me. All righty. So I've been trying to have a topic of the day. Every time I do a live. And these are photographs from a book called Kelso's Shrug Book, Paul Kelso. I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you know where that reference is from YouTube, highly recommend going over to Amazon and getting this book. I bought it for $9.99. I just bought another copy because I can't find my old copy. Okay. It's not a big book, but it is packed with interesting new information and concepts. It is 92 pages or so, and it has a ton of great information, not the same old crap you get in the lifting industry. Now, I have a couple pictures here, and I want to kind of show you guys some information from the book. You see a lot of talk about Kelso shrugs, and it's almost like it's something that just appeared in the kind of science-based modern lifting landscape. But I don't even know how long this book has been around. It's a powerlifting-based book, but it can be applied to bodybuilding, whatever. Copyright 2002, Paul Kelso. I'm not sure if that was a first edition or there was an earlier edition. Been around forever. This book contains so much more than just what you know as the Kelso shrug. It is for weightlifters, powerlifters, bodybuilders. It contains stuff on chest expansion methods, whether you believe that or you don't believe it or you think it's weird. This is a good place to explore it. Stuff on trap bar. And we're going to take a quick look at some of the contents of this book. I have no affiliation, but you got such interesting exercises as the lat shrug. You can kind of see it here with your head on a bench. Why wouldn't you, right? Because you don't need that cranial material anyway. You can do like an incline shrug on the chest-supported lat pull down. A lot of us are used to the, just kind of the standard Kelso shrug. This is a picture of the incline shrug on a seated lat station or chest-supported lat station. You see here an incline dumbbell shrug. There are many, many exercises and many, many examples and many variations, and that's the important part to remember about this book. An incline dumbbell shruggy. And then it gets into like chapter 2 shrug variations, bench shrugs. You can sit there and do the upward shrug on your bench. It goes into information on how this might be beneficial for those of you that want a bench or build a bigger bench. The shrug dip, standing shrug, regular style, chinning bar, and overhead shrugs. Overhead shrugs are a fun movement. I can't say it's something I've done extensively, but I have done it. Basically, you're doing an overhead shrug where you're holding the dumbbell or barbells overhead. A really fun, unique variation. What's the practical application? It all depends on the individual. Play around with some of this stuff. Have fun with it, right? Cable crossover machine shrugs. I think there's an image of that later in this pseudo PDF. Spring set shrugs, wide grip shrugs, heist breathing shrugs, shrug training for the bench press, sternum shrug, negative shrugs, chinning bar shrugs. And then we get shrug holds, cable crossover, machine shrugs, the bench shrugs, just a lot of good information. This is one of the cable crossover shrugs. If you can actually get availability in your gym to try this, It's an interesting variation. And you have shrug variations for Olympic lifters and power lifters. And this is the high shrug where you put the bar on your back and you kind of do that thingy, the high shrug power style. A lot of really good information in this book. And again, I have no affiliation. I just bought it myself, $9.99. It's a good book to have in your library. Whether you use it or not, it's a really good 90 page information tool to educate yourself, because I would guess, and I don't mean this facetiously, that probably 98% of people talking about the Kelso shrug or considering using it don't even know about this book or the information in this book. This is the Shrug Bible, the Shrug Bible. So get it. Ask Santa for it. Ask your mom for it. Whatever. So let's get into things. This little doohickey right here, I got Captains of Crush grippers, right? So when I moved here, I can't find them. I still can't find them. I got this little cheap thing off Amazon, and it allows you to adjust the tension by turning this. And the more tension you adjust, the more it pulls the spring this way. I know it's hard to see, but I was skeptical. I thought this would be a plastic piece of crap. It's actually really good, and I'm using it for grip training for jiu-jitsu. So basically, I'll do like 5 reps one side, move over, do 5 reps the other side, very deliberate, just to work on some recovery and some grip strength. So yeah, there you go. There's my little bonus tip of the day. This thing came with a bunch of other doohickeys, like the finger squishy things and a ball you can squish and a ring you can squish. And it was only like $10 or something. This thing's worth it. This adjustable little doohickey can go from easy to impossible. You can pull that spring all the way down here. And if you can't afford to buy a set of Captains of Crush grippers, or you need a starting tool, search for this little doo-jobber. All right, let's get into things. Big Paladin with the big hitting question right out of the gate. Top benefits of being jacked, other than being jacked, right? Wow. The benefits. Number one, you're harder to kill. What I mean is, I was in a pretty bad car accident when I was 22. Long story short, I was dating somebody. It was their birthday. She got really, really drunk. We were camping. We got kicked out of the campground because she was drunk out of her mind and making a lot of noise. And I had to drive back at like 4 a.m, like 2 hours. And I had to drive a stick shift for the first time in my life. And I accidentally went off the road. I was not drunk at the time, but it was lack of sleep. And we were in a pretty bad car accident. And, I would say just having a degree of strength and muscularity is good for so many reasons. Falls, car accidents, you're harder to kill, right? There's a lot of benefits of being strong. Number two, and this is a big one, this thing right here, you're ugly. I say this because I care. You are ugly. I'm ugly. You're ugly. We're all ugly. So there's not much you can do about being ugly. Okay. I hate to tell it to you. You can grow a sexy beard like me. Right. But there's not much you can do about being ugly. But what you can do is frame that ugliness with a decent body. What downside is it, is there to that? You don't have to have maximum mass, but just taking care of yourself, you make yourself physically and more mentally attractive to the right type of people. You want to, in your life, be with a partner that is highly motivated, that has interests and passions and motivation to do something, to achieve something, to adventure and have fun, and not just sit around and watch TV all the time. If that's your thing, go ahead. But I need somebody that is a little bit more, elevated with their goals, so to speak, that wants to do something, not just sit around with their thumb up their badooski. And, you know, the discipline, right, that you learn from lifting, the sticking to a process, that's mentally attractive. It's building strength, building muscle, just getting into the gym teaches you the art of discipline. It adds a lot of mental strength. You start to learn that, yeah, there's some physical benefits here, but uh, I can apply this discipline to other areas of my life. If I get up every day and I put a brick down, even if it's a cracked brick or an inferior brick, we're constantly taking a step forward. And it teaches you that by taking one step forward every single day, you're going to get to a good place. You don't always know what that place is going to be. So that's another huge benefit. Um, a big benefit. Let's talk about me. I'm 58 years old. Am I in perfect shape? No. Do I have a ripped six pack? No. But I'm 58. I'm trail running. I'm doing jujitsu. I'm no expert at any of these. I'm lifting weights. Um, I'm 58. I'm doing all this stuff. There's no better functional, uh, no better functional activity overall than resistance training. It'll help you with all these other activities. It'll help bulletproof your lower back. It'll help you as you age. I mean, it doesn't get any better. The benefits are just absolutely endless, absolutely endless. The mental benefits, the mental strength benefits, the learning of the discipline. And usually those that work hard at a physical endeavor learn to back that with nutrition, not because they feel forced or pressured, but because it's kind of a natural thing to accompany the physical activity. So I will tell you, I don't know what the future holds. I am 58 years old. And when I go to jujitsu, I do not feel 58 years old. I do not feel 58 years old. When I go trail run an hour, and I've run 3 or 4 hours this week, I do not feel 58 years old. Okay. Am I perfect? Am I perfect physically? Does everything feel like when I was 18? No, but I do not feel 58 years old. I feel like a force of nature. Uh, I mean, that sounds like hype and hyperbole, but I feel strong. I feel healthy. I feel good. Now, I could wake up tomorrow and drop dead from a heart attack. I mean, that's just the way life works. But how I feel is amazing. I can't even describe it. I can't even describe how good I feel physically. And I don't want to be one of these guys that's like, look how good I look for 58. Look how good I feel for 58. Who cares about your age? I just feel good. It feels age defying. Rico, how's it going? Rico, good to see you. Any plans on putting together an athletic type program for people who don't care about being the biggest and strongest? Yeah, I have on my plan of attack a more general fitness, calisthenics, body weight, cardio, general movement type of program. It's on my to-do list, absolutely. Thank God it's Friday. Steve, I love pyramid sets. May I learn your opinion on how and when to progress on a 10, 12, 8, 6 scenario? There's many ways to do it. Okay. So you can use the same weight for all of these sets. Okay. So one easy way, you don't have to change weights. Let's say you're doing 185 pounds on bench and you're able to do it for 12. Okay. Let me get a drink. So you could say I'm going to do 4 sets with my bench weight, same weight. When I'm able to do 12, 10, 8, and 6, I'll add weight. So you might get into 12, 9, 7, 4, right? So you might fall short on those 4 sets. So one way of progressing is using the same weight, so you're not changing weight. And when you hit that rep target on all 4 sets, then you move up 5 pounds. Super simple. A harder way to do things is moving up in weight. Now, I wouldn't recommend a 12, 10, 8, 6 moving up in weight, because if you're using the same weight, your second set's going to drop 2 to 3 reps anyway. So you can't really move up in weight like from 185 to 195 and hope to get 10. You could theoretically do like 185 for 12, move up to 195 and hold that until you get 10, move up to 205 and hold that until you get 8, move up to 215 and hold that until you get 6. But by the time you get to 6, you're not going to have much gas in the tank. So that's not an effective method. So what I would say, a good starting point would be to use the same weight and approach it. That's one way of many, but that's probably a really good way of doing it. Do you ever miss movie rental stores? I think about this a little bit. There's always a degree, there's always plus and minuses, right? There's always good things and bad things in life, and one of the negatives, I'm a movie guy. I love movies. I love watching movies, right? When I go online, one of the things that we are absolutely hammered with is reviews. Here's an Internet Movie Database score. Here's a Rotten Tomato score. Here's a bunch of reviews. Half the reviews say it's the crappiest movie ever. Half the reviews say it's the best movie ever, right? Sometimes one of the modern curses is that you can get so caught up with reviews that you miss out on good movies. There's been more than a few times where me and my wife have looked at a review for a movie and we said, that looks like a stinker, right? A stinker. That looks like a stinky stink bomb. And then we watched the movie like a couple months later and we're like, that was really good. So one thing we've learned with movies is try to find them as cheap as possible. So if you do find an El Stinkerooski, then you're not wasting more than like $3.99. But, watch the trailer. If it looks like bad acting or a $5 budget, usually I avoid that. But back in the day, you would just kind of wander the shelves and be like, hey, man. That's exactly how I spoke 25 years ago. Hey, man, this video, this VHS has a picture of a spaceship on it. Wow, I'm going to rent that movie, right? Or, hey, this box for this DVD has a picture of a man with a sword and he has muscles. Wow, man, I'm going to rent that movie. You were a lot safer back then because you didn't have all this digital fluff, like people just putting out tons and tons and tons of really crappy movies, right? So back then, most of the movies that got made weren't as bad as a lot of the movies that got made now. They were at least watchable. I don't remember, many movies back then completely unwatchable. So I think I missed certain things about that era. Big Richard, good to see you, Richard. Story of the week. I think the story of the week for me is about how stupid we are becoming. And let me explain. Like, things just continue to get more and more selfish in our society. And I'll give you a good example. Trail running again. I go to a trail where you can also mountain bike. It's a mountain bike trail, hiking trail. It's right next to a campground. You can hike, you can mountain bike, whatever. During our primary running years, we probably ran this trail 100 times. It was close to home. We ran a lot of trails. This one we were very familiar with. We probably ran 100 times. In all of those times prior to, the outbreak of the pandemic, never once did I see an off-lead dog. Never once did I see somebody doing their mountain bike with their dog running next to them. In the past 3 weeks, I've run into at least 5 occasions where somebody's blasting down the trail going 30 miles an hour and their dog is running full speed after them. Last night I was running. Up the trail comes a dog with a spiked collar, and it looks black and ferocious. And it stops 15 feet in front of me, and I stopped. There's no bike around. And I'm just sitting there going, is it going to attack? So I'm just trying to remain calm. And it just stares at me for 5 seconds, and it goes, boom, right past me. So I'm like, good, I didn't have to engage with a crazy dog. 20 minutes later, I'm running along like a doofus, and these knuckleheads, all of a sudden, the same dog runs by me like a lightning bolt. And the mountain bikers, a couple that look maybe mid-40s, just right past me. Nothing, no slowing down. I could have easily took a step to the left, if I heard a sound, and stepped in front of their path and got absolutely drilled. But this is becoming normal. This is happening 2 or 3 times every time I go out on a trail. And I don't know what is happening in our society that people have become complete selfish idiots. It's becoming hard to keep your mouth shut. I'm trying to do a better and better job, and I am doing a better job. I simply said the second time they came around, please, no off-lead dogs are allowed on this trail. And I said it very polite, but it's to the point where you people are idiots. Like, not you guys, but do we care anymore? Do we use any common sense, or are we just reckless? I'm going to do what I want to do. And if you're in my way, you're an idiot. I don't want to fight. I don't want to start a fight. I don't want to raise my voice, because one of the things about this modern era is if somebody does something wrong or completely idiotic and you call them on it, they're likely to be like, no, right? That's what you get, right? Like, they come back at you. There's no humility. No, oh, I'm very sorry. I should have thought. It's all like, no, like you did something wrong by disrupting them being selfish. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know where we're at as a society, but I would say at least 10% of people are just complete idiots. And I don't know when this took place. That's my story of the week. Rant. Justin Jones, good morning. Big, hairy, ugly dude and Team Massive. When you start with a new client, you usually change the program. So, yeah, absolutely. Occasionally, like 1 out of 20 people come to me and they have a really good structure, and we just improve it. Like, hey, you're doing this wrong. Let's balance this. I work things on what they are doing. If they have a solid structure in place, I might throw a few new tools at them, but it's a relationship. There's give and take. It's not like a coach, like me as a coach, I'm going to say, do this program or you are a failure, my son. It's not like that. It's not like I come down with the 10 commandments of how you need to lift. And if you don't, there's give and take. We talk about what you want to do. We adjust things a little bit. The only time as a coach where things get a little bit spotty, sketchy, is when this only happens once a year. Once a year, I'll get somebody who will come to me like on a Monday morning. I think I want to do starting strength, right? Like, I don't coach other people's programs. I don't care if you want to do starting strength. I don't care if you want to do farting strength. I don't care if you want to do sharding strength. That's just my Friday humor. I don't care what you want to do. Lifting is lifting. But I don't coach other people's programs. I don't coach starting strength because not because I think it's a bad program, but because I want to do things my way as a coach. I'm not going to coach the Green Bay Packers, and say I want to coach the Green Bay Packers like the Dallas Cowboys, using the Dallas Cowboys playbook. No, I'm a coach. I have my methods. So that's the only thing I won't do as a coach. Sharding strength, just a little bit of humor, right? Good morning, Big Ernie P. Good to see you. Big Scotty MC. Aloha, big fella. I did a total of 64 reps for chest today. I predict this will represent the number of points the Badgers. No. The Badgers are El Stinko this year, 2-6, and they're absolutely horrible. They might not even score 64 points the rest of the year. Shelly, good to see you. Shelly, always good to see you. Big Jeffrey, always good to see you. Good morning, Team Massive Movers and Groovers, Charters and Farters, right? Massive Charters. I keep seeing people. Here we go. Anytime I say people say, it's one of the things in life. I haven't even read the comments, so we're not saying anything about the comment. But whenever a statement leads with people say, I always wait for the fun, right? Oh, now that I'm older, I don't do anything heavy, just increase reps. Okay. They say doing a motion for like 20 reps is better than doing something heavy. Yeah, it sounds like boo-boo baby babble. I don't know. It's an excuse, right? I mean, you don't have to squat 400 or even 315, but, increasing reps is increasing strength. It's very finite. I mean, if you started out with 135 by 10 on bench and you did 3 sets and you want to get 3 sets to 20, would that be a really good progression approach? Yeah, you would get really strong. You're building the same level of strength, even though you're not touching a heavier weight. I am curious. So let's pull up what we would call AI, right? What we would call AI. And I want to see what AI says because it's smarter than us and the robots are taking over. So hold on a second. But they are building strength. And I want to show this to you because sometimes we think that building strength needs to be, just by adding weight. You can add reps, but it's finite. Okay. If I started with 135 by 10 on bench for 1 set, what would my 1 RM be? Okay, hold on. I think I did something wrong here. If I got this to 135 for, whoops, itchy nose, 3 sets. Come on, type, dude, of 20 reps. Then what would my 1 rep max be? Okay, so let's do a hypothetical. You hit the gym, you're a noob. After like 3 months, you get to 135 for 10 on bench. You're doing pretty good. You got a good baseline, a good starting place. So you do 135 by 10 on 1 set. Let's say you're doing, kind of a newbie full body, 1 to 2 sets per exercise, maybe ramping warm-ups, whatever. So you do 135 by 10 on bench and you decide, I'm too old and fragile. I'm fragile. I'm just going to move up in reps. So you move up to 135 for 3 sets of 20. Maybe this takes 2 years, whatever. What would it be? What would the 1 rep max difference be? Let's break this down carefully. We'll use common 1 rep max estimation formulas like Epley and Brzezinski, I don't know. You figure it out, man. So 135 by 10 is going to be roughly 180 using the Epley, and the Brzezinski is going to be 180. So you're going to start with an estimated 1 rep max of 180 as a late beginner. The second scenario, 135 by 20. So realistically, if you could do 3 by 20, your 1 rep max would be a lot more than 225. That's not right at all. That's if you can do 135 for 20, you're probably going to be closer to 225. If you can do 3 sets, you're probably closer to 265, 275. So in this scenario, you'd probably roughly add 80, 90, 100 pounds to your 1 rep max. That's a lot of strength. You would be close to gym elite on your bench, only adding reps. So you could certainly do it. But in this case of the boo boo baby stuff, most people aren't doing that. They're just using it as an excuse. They're not really adding reps. They're just running their yap hole. Big Tom, 8 days until USPA meet in Bridgeport, Ohio. Let's see, 240 tested on squat, 245 bench. I'm wiped out. No, dude, no. Nada. You're wiped, recover. You are not building strength right now. No. You need to relax. You don't need to pull any more until that meet. Not at all. Hit me up if you need any more advice. But this week, you might do a light bench session 5 days out. Light deload. Maybe a light deload squat session 6 days out, 7 days out. But after that, rest. Drop your assistance work to like 2 or 1 sets. Don't push for 1 rep max. You need to rescind your fatigue so your strength can shine. No, not at all, Tom. And let me know if you need help. So we are about 37 minutes in. 37 minutes in. We are rolling along. I just saw a comment here at the end. I wanted to. Old man yells at cloud. That's it, right? Old man yells at cloud. Get off my hiking trail, you 40-mile-an-hour downhill zoomies with your unchained dog that I don't want to have to fight and be mauled. Before I continue, guys, don't hesitate. Please check out my website if you're interested in coaching. Please check out my website. Check out the coaching tab. I would love to work with you. Coaching is what I do for a living. So they had a bunch of overlays last week. We had a bunch of, spooky ones. I'm just trying to see if they have anything more unique or different. No, nothing new, nothing spooky or whatever. I need to get rid of all those. All right, where are we at? Enough of the nonsense. Let me find the questions. Would you mind? Let me get a drink. Would you mind analyzing my SSB squat form on here? Yep, absolutely. So, Big Justin Jones, just posted a video on Team Massive. If you don't know where Team Massive is, you can check out the Discord link in my videos this week. I'm trying to find Big Justin Jones. Okay, so I have the video. Hold on, I got to mute things. I got to make sure that we don't have any music, because if we have any music, YouTube gets upset. Mute. Hold on, I'm trying to find his video. So just give me 1 second. We're almost there. Almost there. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the video and we'll put it on screen. This is Big Justin Jones from Team Massive. Let's see. Present. Share screen. Sorry. Beep, boop, bop. Here we go. Oh, how do I got this spooky crap still up here? Let's get that off. I'm such an idiot. I didn't even realize I had it up there. This is Big Justin Jones. Let's see if we can make it bigger. Okay. Whoops. Let's see what we got here. Whoop, let's backtrack. The first thing I want to see is somebody on rack and check their feet to make sure the angles of their feet are equal. I don't see that here, so that happened before. The right foot looks a little bit more angled out than the left. Just make sure you're checking your feet. It's a narrow stance, nothing wrong with that. But just make sure you check your feet before you descend. And it's a SSB. Hard to get uneven on an SSB. Look at those calves. You got good calf genetics, I can tell you that. What I want to see is a visual deep breath and bracing of the core before you descend. I don't know if you retracted your arms back. Boop. It looks like you braced, so that's reasonable. Okay, so here I want to see the kneecap stay over the foot. A common squatting mistake is you'll see the knee cap or the knee inside of the foot. Now, you can see a little bit of hippy shippy shifting here. Okay? Just look at the arms. We got to be very nuanced. You see the left arm is further away from the body than the right arm. Now, this isn't just arbitrary. I'll explain what's happening. Look at the center of like his head, the base of his head. You can see if you take that to the base of his buttocks, the base of his gluteus, there's a shifting. Okay? There's a shifting to the right. Can you see it? Can you see it? If you drew a line from the top of his head in the center to the middle of his glutes, there's a slight shifting. Now, look at his knees. While the left knee looks like it is hanging over the foot, the right knee also looks like it's hanging over the foot, but the right foot looks like it's angled out too much. This is causing the slight shift. This is why we need to check our foot position before we descend. So already upon initiation, you're shifting. You didn't check your feet. You didn't make sure your feet are equal. Maybe you did, and you weren't paying enough attention. That can happen. So right now, just out of initiation, you are shifting to the right. You are shifting to the right. This is going to place stress on your knees. It's going to place stress on your hips. So let's watch it from the beginning again. So those of you guys watching, it even looks like standing posturally, you might be shifted already, but I'm going to address this in a second. Okay, so it looks like you straightened up. If you look up the crotch, and I'm not trying to be graphic here, but at the top, the center, right below the glutes, and you can see the cable station, okay? And you can see the white numbers on the cable station. Let's use that as a straight line, okay? You see that? You see two sets of white numbers on the cable station. We can use that to watch for shifting. Watch for shifting. Can you see that? Did you see that? Okay. Watch how the numbers just are a little bit offset on the side of the glutes. And then as he descends, the glutes go over and the numbers. See that? So the numbers push to the left. That's some hip shift. One thing you want to do when you are squatting and you notice a degree of hip shift is as you squat, you want to think about driving your butthole straight down to the ground as you squat. This will help minimize hip shift. So from this starting position, drive your butthole straight down to the ground. Shifty, it bounced back a little bit. So it shifted to the right. And then as you settled in with your knees, it kind of neutralized. Now, I don't see your heels lifting and rolling in. Your knees are staying out over your feet. And when your knees are staying out over your feet or your kneecaps are staying out over the front of your feet, your heels are going to have a tendency to stay stapled to the ground. That's a good thing. Depth is good. Knee position is good. The only minor issue here we had was that your right foot looked a little bit more angled out than your left. It caused a little bit of hip shift. In the whole, everything looks glorious. The hip shift kind of neutralized. It went right and it centered again. Your knee positioning is good. Overall, I'm very happy with this. Okay, let's watch. Okay, so that was actually cleaner. The second rep was cleaner. No real hip shift. A little bit of minor hip shift on the third. Overall, this is, now I know I just nitpicked this for 17.2 minutes, but overall, this is a good squat. Good depth, good knee position. You just need to watch your feet. But overall, this is a very good squat. I would rate it a B+ with a few minor details to watch. You're not trying to go so deep that you're getting butt wink or rounding of the lower back. So yeah, I would say this is a pretty decent squat. Just a couple things to keep an eye on. Big Scotty, Steve, when you're own training, with your own training, which includes not only lifting, but trail running and jujitsu, do you plan rest days? I mean, right now, the biggest recovery, the biggest thing I have to focus recovery on is jujitsu, because when, like, I did some, some minor rolling with my instructor at the end of last class, and that has a tendency to beat me up a little bit more. Not beat me up, but beat me up a little bit more. So I have to make sure I recover from there to the point where I can do my presses, because my press workouts have been the hardest to do since I started jujitsu. It's just kind of impacting my shoulders a little bit. I've been doing a lot of rehab work for my shoulders, but that's the biggest thing. I need to make sure that I have a couple days of rest after jujitsu before doing chest and shoulders. Leg workouts are fine. Back workouts are fine. Trail running honestly doesn't impact me. Recovery is 100%. I've ran 3 or 4 hours in the last 5 days. It doesn't impact me. I don't have leg fatigue. I don't have leg soreness. It's from all the years of trail running. I don't know, maybe whatever, but I don't have to worry about that. I went out on a trail run yesterday. I'm going to be doing legs today. It won't impact me at all. It won't impact my quality workout. Not everybody's going to be the same though. So I hope that helps. So I was sick with a cold last week, and I average once a year. Back to training this week. Squats, I felt very fatigued. I couldn't really do as much weight. Yeah, anytime you're more than 10 days away from doing squats, you need to drop weight 10%. Your muscular strength might be there, but your central nervous system could be off. Your connective tissue could be a little bit weaker. So you absolutely need to back down on weight. You need to be very safe when coming back, or smart when coming back to training. Listen to your body and don't worry. You're not losing strength permanently. It's just a temporary hole that you are in. Do you think front squat effectiveness depends on the person's leverages? Heard an influencer say don't front squat if you. I hate arbitrary stuff like this. If you hear an influencer say that, I'm not going to say it. No, this is generic nonsense advice. The front squat is a lot easier for people to nail than a back squat. Because the weight is forward, we tend to naturally open our knees properly. I don't see people with a lot of major form issues on front squats. The major issue on front squats is that people don't like them, or it puts a lot of stress on their mid back, or they have a hard time holding the weight up. Usually it's not anything about how the lift feels. It's more the irritating nature of the mechanics of the front squat. So I have seen endless number of front squat videos over the years, and I've never seen anyone with major front squat issues compared to the back squat. Femur size be damned. I don't agree with this at all. I think it's arbitrary, generic, and not my experience from what I've seen. What do you think of DC training? So I made a really good video, and I want to refer you guys. This is your homework for the weekend. I want you to go over and watch this video. Hold on, I'm going to find it because I want to make sure I give you the exact title. We are going to do DC. Let me see if that's it. So I got a couple. I got Massive Crap, my DC training variation. Okay, hold on. And I got another video on rest pause, which I want to refer you to. So hold on. Boop, boom, bah. I thought I had one recently. Let me find it. So don't go anywhere. Just give me a second. If I can absolutely, I'll go to my channel, go to videos, boom, junk volume, relax, frustrated game changers, savage growth, natural muscle, beep, save your gains, 30 days, triceps. I know I just did a video recently on rest pause training. I can't find which one it is. There's one on savage sets. Good grief, where is it at? I thought for sure I had it absolutely nailed recently. Maybe it was longer back than I thought. So I have a system called bulldozer training. Okay. It is a rest pause training style. I have nothing but respect for Dante. I think he's one of the good voices in lifting. I have no problem with this program. I ran it. I like doing my type of rest pause training more. I feel like I can do more. That's just me personally. I've tested this on endless number of clients. I've never had a real issue. Sometimes we dial in things a little bit. You can check out this video. It's called Massive Crap. Insert laugh, but dog crap, massive iron, massive crap. What else would you call it, right? I mean, but it goes into detail about, my type of training. And if you want more, you can go over to the main page of my YouTube and search rest pause. Rest pause. And you can get all kinds of information on my type of rest pause training. I have a 4-part series, the benefits of rest pause training, all kinds of videos on bulldozer. You can search bulldozer or rest pause and just get literally an encyclopedia of really good information on rest pause training. My style. Big Lee. Having till Monday off to start a 5-day split fresh, though my last workout I tried upright rows, 10 by 10 movement. I've done upright rows on a trap bar. There's a lot of interesting lifts you can do on a trap bar, so don't rule it out. You can do kind of pendley rows, barbell rows. You can do shruggies. You can do upright rows, a lot of good stuff. My band also plays a hometown gig tonight. You'll be sampled, of course. Lee's band uses a sample or two from the Massive Iron world, which I am very thankful for. I appreciate that. Full body, Joshua Perry. Full body every day is becoming popular, and I enjoy it. Is this a news cycle thing, or has this been tried in the past? All right, let's take you on a history lesson. Okay. Way back around 2008, I tried something called the Drunk Russian. Okay, you can go over to my website, Super Living Today, and search Drunk Russian. You can go over to what's called my YouTube channel. And we'll go there. We'll go back there because I'm going to do a history lesson. A lot of these things we used to do back in the day just kind of pop out again. Okay, so you can go to the main page of my YouTube and search drunk. Okay, 10 years ago, my Drunk Russian full body program. 5 years ago, Drunk Russian 5-day a week. Building a full body workout, Drunk Russian 1 year ago. So I have 3 videos up here on the Drunk Russian. And if you go to my website, superlivingtoday.com, you can actually just search drunk and get the Drunk Russian PDF. So back in the day, I ran what I would call a 5-day full body workout. I recently made a video of updating the Drunk Russian. It is the vulgar, and you can go to my YouTube channel, the newest videos, and scroll down until you see vulgar, and it is the vulgar full body. And that is my latest iteration of the Drunk Russian. So I've been doing these for quite a long time. I know Jeff Nippard had done, I believe, a more frequent full body workout in the last couple of years, but it's not a new thing. It's not a magical thing. It's just something you can do. There's no magical splits. But check out my information if you want a reasonable way to do things. Isaac. Hey there, Steve. I stumbled across your power muscle burn system recently and decided to run it for November. Loving it. That is one of my original programs I had over on Muscle and Strength. If you search Power Muscle Burn 4-Day, I think there are over 4,000 comments on it. It was one of the most popular lifting workout systems that has ever been on the internet. That's not patting myself on the back. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. I have to sneeze. Hold on. So if you go to my website, and I hate to refer people to YouTube or website over and over again, but I have a lot of resources on this. You can go to my website and search Power Muscle, and you'll get a lot of information, tons of information. If you go to the main page of my YouTube channel and search Power Muscle, you'll get a ton of information on these programs. I have the Power Muscle Burn, the Power Muscle Block, the Power Muscle Bulldozer, just a lot of ways to do this system that are a lot of fun. Basically, the core structure of it is what I use to build a lot of my muscle base. So it's not a magical program. It's a very solid program. Pros and cons of less exercise variation, volume equated. The biggest thing we have to make sure we're doing is that we're not trying just to minimize the exercise selection just to be part of the cool club. I'm going to do a minimal number of exercises because I want to show somebody I can do a minimal number of exercises. You know, you don't have to do a lot of exercise variation, but we also, I mean, you can have seasons where you might be doing more minimal training. I have done that, more minimal exercise selection. We just have to be careful that we're not being dogmatic and going, I am going to show you I only need 2 exercises for chest to be superior. These types of scenarios where somebody digs in with dogma, it's the worst of the worst in the fitness industry. I'm going to show you that I only need to eat 90 grams of protein to build muscle. Okay, great. But that is like arbitrary and generic and dogmatic. And why are you trying to not listen to your body and not use something that is working to show you, right? That whenever you have somebody that wants to show you, right, you have to kind of raise the red flag a little bit. As long as it's in a season, that's fine. As long as you're doing it and you enjoy it, that's fine. And as long as it's not to show you, right, you're good to go. Big Lee. For shrugs, I found a bar behind the back is best. Behind the back shrug is very underrated. It absolutely torches my rear delts. If you've never tried it, be very deliberate on the rear delt shrug, behind the back shrug. Make sure you get it around your lower waist area. Woodulus. Hex bar shrugs are a winner, exactly. And they also prevent you from smacking yourself in the old Junkarooski. I got a rack and a lat pull down for my home gym, but I don't have that little pad to put over my thighs for lat pull down. Do you know of any way to rig a counterweight? You could get a backpack and wear it on your back or even on your chest and load it with a plate to kind of counterweight. You could possibly put a 45-pound weight on your legs. You got to be safe here because we don't want to be reckless. If I were to do it, I would try to rig up something. Like I would probably try to find some seat belt I could put under my seat and maybe put it above my legs. There's got to be something on Amazon you can get for cheap, or maybe a backpack that you could wear on your chest or on your back and put a 45-pound plate in. There's got to be something we can do, to counter this. Big Billy Baker, happy Friday. I haven't been able to live in a while. Well, come back from the dead, Bill, and live too. If a man or a woman or gender neutral has a Smith machine, a high-low cable post system, and a leg extension curl combo, does he really need anything else? Dumbbells. I mean, if you have a home gym, I'd get dumbbells because, yeah, you can do a lot with those tools, but, dumbbells add a lot. Easy bar adds a lot. If you have plates, you can get an Olympic dumbbell handle. You can get an easy bar. A little bit can go a long way. I find mascara to help women notice how ugly we are. Notes. Lee. I tried the Jefferson deadlift. Honestly, an excellent lift for me. A fine variation for a single leg movement. I've tried basically everything over the years. No harm in trying anything new. Just make sure you're safe. I do miss the video rental shop. One local one had a life-size Mars Attacks statue. I remember the one. I lived in Richmond, Virginia after I got out of the military. And, when there's a point in your life where you're really naive and something, kind of happens and you become less naive, or you're like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I moved, after I got out of the military, I moved to Richmond, Virginia, got a job doing stuff, and went to the local video store, and they had a back room, with a curtain. And it didn't say what was in the back room. It said you must be 18 or older to enter. Like, what is back there? You're not, what is back there? And you're like, the first 17 times you walk in, you're a little bit nervous about going back there because you're like, what is back there? I don't want to go back there by the bad people stuff. I don't want to go back in the bad people room, right? And then, one day when people aren't looking and the staff is looking the other way or whatever, you just kind of sneak a peek at what's in the back person room, and you see all kinds of shenanigans. You go, I get it now. The back people room. So, yeah. Philippines made easy. What are some good strength standards, numbers to aim for with big tricep lifts? There really isn't a lot of, some of these lifts, I hate to be dismissive, but, I don't even remember. I've done heavy dumbbell overhead extension, singles and doubles. I don't even remember how heavy I got them, and I'm not being dismissive. I did double arm extensions in my day. You would get it up and get it up and get it up and do the thing, and French press, and I think I've done skull crushers with 135. I 115, 135. I can't remember, and I don't like to talk about lifts, that I don't know if I have a video about. I only like to talk about lifts where I know I have a video of, but I don't know. I don't remember specifically, what I got to on those lifts. With lifts like that where it's more about safely progressing, it's going to be a long game, and you can get pretty strong on them. I'm just checking really quick to see if I have a video of my skull crushers. So just give me a second. I have a video of skull destroyers, but I just really can't remember if I have a video of skull crushers. So just give me 1 second. I will know soon enough. For some reason, I remember having 45-pound plates at least. I can't find it. I can't find it. I remember having 45-pound plates at least on skull crushers. I do remember them jacking up my elbows a little bit. You are the same age as Joe Rogan, I believe so. Joe's another great example. Takes care of himself. I mean, if you look at the average 58-year-old individual, how do they look? Joe's a really good example. Thoughts on doing a 6-week program, focused 1 to 2 compounds, 3 to 4 times a week. Sets are da-da-da. Not a fan of that with deadlifts. Squats. First off, I'm not a fan of a 6-week program. It's going to take you 2 to 3 weeks to break in and get used to the demands. And then you have very few weeks to actually run and perform. Doing one lift, where you're focusing on more volume for a shorter period of time, that's okay. I would probably use a 2-week break in and then maybe a 4 to 6 week overtraining or overreaching period. I don't know that I would do that on every lift. It could possibly be done. I don't like frequent deadlifting. You could do a frequent deadlift plan. I don't like higher reps on that because I think you get a tendency to get into cardiovascular stress and lower back stress. So I think there's a better way to structure frequent deadlifting if you are going to do it. Incline bench, rows, you're probably pretty fine, okay. As a generic program, though, I would definitely get under the hood and tinker around a little bit. Given inflation, do you think in 5 years the optimal set number will be 253? Yep, absolutely. Given inflation, we won't even be able to afford sets. Not a lifting question, but you have a great relationship with your wife. How do you know when you've met the right one? How do I put this the right way? Wherever you're at, it's easy, relatively easy. I'm trying to phrase this the right way. To understand you've met the right one for where you're at in that point in time. Okay. I'm going to, like, when I was in the military, I was in a pretty long relationship with someone that ended up, I was in the military. They went on to do a lot of cheating. They did a lot of cheating. It was like a serial cheater scenario. So after like this longer relationship, I got out of it like 95, 96, 95-ish. I wanted something more stable. I wasn't thinking I want something more stable, but after every relationship, your standards kind of change, whether you realize it or you don't realize it, they evolve. So you make the best decision you can at the time. So at that time, I got married to a woman that was very, very stable job, had the same job for 482 years, same house for 482 years. It's not like after being with the cheater, I said, I'm going to get somebody that's stable with their job. You tend to find the right one that is right for you at the time. And you might not always realize the choice you make. It just might feel comfortable. So that person was right for me at the time. But as I evolved as a person, I realized there was a lot of things lacking. They weren't, it's not that this person was a bad person or I was a bad person. A lot of times people are just good people. They aren't always a long-term fit. So you can get involved with somebody that seems right for you at the time. That's a pretty decent human being. And as you evolve, grow, they might not be the right person for you in the long run. Does that make sense? So doesn't make them a bad person, doesn't make you a bad person. It's just a reality of life. The best thing I can say is be patient. Find somebody that is motivated to do something, that has passions, that has interests. Um, you guys are lifters, fitness people. You want to take care of yourself. Find someone motivated to take care of themselves. Find somebody that's motivated with hobbies and interests and wants to get involved with physical activity. There has to be something. It's not that the person needs hobbies and interests or to lift, but if you are a lifter or involved in the physical culture, lifestyle, nutrition, lifestyle, and you're with somebody that might be fun or might share the same mixed tape, right? That's all good and well. Maybe you're having a lot of fun getting drunk, crunk, funky dunk. Maybe even things are going well. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you'll meet somebody and it'll be like next level. You know what I'm saying? That's all good and well. You can get carried away with fun, but you also have to look at the big picture, right? Somebody that wants you to be your best, that isn't going to hold you back. Somebody motivated to be their own, to be the best. So the best thing I can tell you, younger folks, is be patient. It's okay to have good, right? It's okay to have a lot of fun, but you also have to look for the other layers. Somebody that's going to encourage you to be your best, somebody that you can talk to about problems. So there's other layers involved. I hope that makes sense. Big J Ant, those poor bikes would have been decimated. It's kind of scary when you're running and somebody zooms by you at 30 miles an hour. It's legitimately the pace they're going downhill. The other day, I had a dog fly by me and it just skimmed my pants. You could just feel it. Big John Parker. While benching with dumbbells, why do people not go parallel to the chest or below? Is there a reason not to? With a dumbbell bench, you just need to focus on taking it down to a comfortable area. Don't get involved in arbitrary scenarios. I have to come here. I have to come here. I have to do this angle. It's not necessary. What you need to focus on when you are doing a dumbbell bench is just control, bringing it down to where it feels natural, keeping the elbows in a natural position, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? So a lot of people do a lot of weird, arbitrary things in lifting. Just keep it natural. Sharding stank, pull down, not progressing. A pull down is a lift that can be very, very stubborn. I've said this over and over again. It's very easy to reach a soft wall on a lot of lifts, including the pull down. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. There are lifts you can really expedite progress on quickly. You can get up to speed on an incline dumbbell curl or a curl or a skull destroyer or a skull crusher or a lat pull down. You can get up to speed very quickly. And then you can go a lateral raise. And then it might take you 15 years to add 5 reps. That's the nature of lifting. Not everything is on an equal progression opportunity. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. I don't progress on lat pull downs. They're one of those lifts that you kind of do really, 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 really well until you reach a soft wall. And then you might add 2-3 reps a year. That's okay. You just have to determine whether you want to continue to do that lift or do something different. Big Tom. I think people have become horribly antisocial since they started wearing headphones everywhere. Going to the gym was way more fun when people would communicate. Yeah, when I do go to a gym, sometimes I've been like watching somebody and like, I think I'm going to ask that guy for a spot because he looks functional and strong. And then you might go up to him at the opportune time and go, "Dear kind sir, would you be," and then he's not looking at you like, "Oh, he's got earbuds in. I'm a dum-dum." Yeah, I would agree with you. And I don't know. I don't want to get into an old man debate discussion, but I think there is a social skill that is very valuable in being able to communicate with people naturally. And I think some of that is lost. Headphones say, don't bother me. Yeah, I mean, I wear headphones while I'm running, but then again, it's just me and the deer and the bear and the ants and the bugs. And I used to run for the longest time. I ran without headphones for a long, long time. And it just came to the point where I realized, like, if I'm doing a trail run or a structured race, you should not have anything in your ears because you need to listen. But, you know, if I'm doing a trail run, passing the time, listening to a podcast is really a big benefit. But during a workout session, I'm not trying to pass the time. I'm just, I'm focusing on my sets. Nottingham just opened a Wendy's. Wendy's is okay. Their hamburgers taste a lot better than McDonald's. Generally in America, they're much better quality. So yeah, I would check it out. If you want a reasonably not as junky hamburger. All right, guys, we got about 5 questions left. If you have any questions, get them in now. If not, I will be hopping off. Get in your questions now. Are push-ups good supplement to bench? Yeah, I like doing push-ups. I like doing a body weight exercise. I do them every week on my chest day. Do you need to do them? No. I like doing push-ups. I do 2 sets of max reps. Sometimes 3 if I'm feeling energetic, right? But yeah, I like doing push-ups. I don't have any issue with dips. I've done dips over the years, many, many times, many years. But push-ups are more forgiving as I age on my shoulders. I can be very controlled. My body's not swaying. I can get a really good chest feel. I think they're a good 3rd tier exercise. I would rather personally do them than pecky decky or cable crossovers. I'm not saying don't do pecky decky or cable crossovers, but I just feel I can get some pretty good value out of push-ups that are done correctly with chest focus. Uber MX, thanks for becoming a member. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Or ma'am. I have scoliosis too. My upper body leans to the left. That can explain things. So that helps with context. The only thing I'll say, Justin, is think about driving your butt straight down to the ground when you squat. Ownage Titan, good morning, Massive Iron. All right, last question, guys. Last question. Drunk rush and a hypertrophy setup. Everything I do is hypertrophy focused. So what I mean by that is unless it's specifically a lower rep periodization strength program, everything I do is hypertrophy focused. All right, guys, that is it. We are done. Before we get out of here for the day, just want to encourage you guys to check out my website if you can. Massive Iron. No, what is my website? Hold on. I was looking at something. I got screwed up here. Where's my media? There we go. Superlivingtheday.com. Check out the coaching tab. Watch for the Black Friday specials. You can get a custom workout over there for only $39. Just head over there and search custom. What do you think of the YouTube videos that say, do this to build the outer bicep or do this to build the upper chest? Most YouTube video, it's okay to have in one regional hypertrophy lift, but you don't want to overbake it. You want to have a good solid core, 70-75% of your stuff just conventional, solid focused, and then maybe 20-25% you can work in a regional hypertrophy lift. All right, guys, that is it. Have a wonderful weekend. Please come back next Friday. What am I talking about? Next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm here every week. Run.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.
All right, let's pop up. Let's do a little bit of after party stuff here. I'm going to mute this. Little after party, little after party. I tried this a couple times. I'm not saying you guys should do it, but it was a fun variation. I decided to grab a couple plates and just do some what you would call maybe pendley rows. So this is about 180 pounds. Not the easiest lift to do, but it was kind of fun and was kind of funky. One of the crazy, wacky, lifts I've done over the years. Let's see what else we can toss up on here for the after party. Let's do some searching on my computer. I have literally like 1,000 lifting videos, and sometimes I'll just stumble upon something absolutely random like that. Oh, here's let's make sure occasionally I would travel down to travel back in the day when I was single. I hate to tell you I was single once, and sometimes I would travel. And the easiest place to stop in would be at a Planet Fitness. I know they get a lot of hate, but at a Planet Fitness, you were limited to the 75-pound dumbbells. I would do a lot of dumbbell benching. I would do a lot of machine chest press. And I would also do the cable crossover. Not my favorite exercise, but I would lean forward a little bit just so I could feel a slight stretch of the chest. Here I have to make sure I'm centered in the camera, for social media prowess. And I think about driving the elbows together towards the center of the body to feel the chest work. You can do low to high, you can do high to low, you can do mid to mid. It doesn't really matter. But I focus on pulling it back until I feel a slight stretch of the chest right there. And then I think about moving my elbows together towards the center of my body and not my hands. I think about moving my elbows together towards the center of my body to feel the chesticles work. When I do these, I usually do a lot of volume. I don't know where I'm at here. The video is a little bit longer, so let's let it unfold. There are times where I would do a superset with push-ups just because, it was not as intense, but I guess that's about it. What do we got? Any advice on bicep activation? My left tends to split between biceps, and you're thinking way too much about it. I don't know. When you initiate a curl, you want to have your elbow right at your side, and then you initiate the curl with your elbow at your side. And as the arm curls up, the elbow can roll up to facilitate a contraction. If you have elbow tendonitis or pain, you need to start wearing VersaGrip Pros or straps on all your pulls and holds. And if your forearm muscle feels aggravation or stress, that just means it's weak. It's not anything to fear. Tendonitis aside, you're going to have weak forearms, and you're going to have weak traps, and you're going to have weak front delts as you're building strength. And that's okay. That doesn't mean your biceps are not working. All right, guys, we're out of here. Have a good weekend.